Hi, I'm Lauren, a mom, former teacher turned children's book author, and your host who joins special guests each episode as we share our top kid-lit picks for sparking hard conversations the easy way. Yep, that means everything from tackling bullying and out-of-control anger to celebrating diversity, inclusion, and leading with kindness, plus so much more. My whole mission of my own children's book series, Blooming Rose, is to provide social and emotional support tools for in and out of the classroom, and this podcast is my way to expand that mission even further. So stay tuned as we dive into this week's topic on the Blooming Books podcast. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Blooming Books podcast. Our guest today is an accomplished author of the Alycat series and the co-founder of a PR agency for fellow authors called Expound Publicity. She has swapped years as both an educator and a lawyer for a whimsical world of kitty cats, conundrums, and now Christmas cookies. So welcome to the podcast, Alysson Bourque.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for having me on.
Of course. So we're going to be diving into your books and inspirations in a minute, but I always like to lighten the mood and get to know our guests with some rapid fire questions to start off. So are you ready?
I am ready.
So I mentioned Christmas cookies in relation to your latest book, but do you have a favorite cookie or dessert for the holidays? I know we're just getting into October, but I'm already excited about it.
Yes, I do. So my mom makes these bars at Christmas time. She only makes it for Christmas Eve, and they're called ooey gooey bars. The top has this cream cheese sugar, and then the bottom has this cake batter taste. They're so good. I look forward to Christmas Eve so much just to go and eat those bars.
Yes, I don't know if that's a Louisiana thing or not, 'cause we're both from Louisiana, but I love those. I've never actually tried to make those, so maybe I need to put that on my list. But my grandma was the same way. She always does Christmas snowballs, but only during the holidays, so it makes it just that much more special.
Yes.
Okay, so your Alycat series is based around a cast of furry characters, but is Ally and friends based off any real life cats in your life?
Yes, so I partner with Wildcat Foundation and I help them with some of their rescue cats I foster. And I've actually had a few foster fails while I've adopted these cats. Phoebe was one of them. She was a rescue cat. Kitty was one as well. Spotty is a cat that I grew up with. He was my favorite confidant whenever I was
Oh.
little, and he would listen to all my problems and all my good news when I'd come home from school. And Alycat comes from actually I think my third grade teacher. I would daydream all the time in class, and she would snap her fingers and say, "Come back down to earth, Alycat." And so Alycat for me became a nickname of someone who likes to be creative and imagine and not pay attention, but someone who's really in the creative space.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cute. So you reside in South Central Louisiana, which is close to my stomping grounds of where I'm from. But do you have a Cajun saying you use that people from other areas might not understand? Because there's a whole lot of them. There's a whole nother language, literally.
Yes, so I say "oh sha" all the time, and
Hmm.
that means cute or adorable or kind of like, "oh, that's good."
So, just a quick side story, but when I was first thinking about publishing my first book, one of your signed books was gifted to my daughter. And as soon as I started doing some research on other authors and their series and their marketing efforts, I was immediately drawn to all the fun and amazing things you were doing and doing so well, especially on a local level. So, it was a truly an inspiration for me. And then getting to work with you for marketing Bloom & Rose Blast Off, I'm so grateful to have that as such an inspiration. So we're big Alycat fans over here, and we're going to dive into this episode and touch on a host of your SEL, like the social topics, which you have a plethora of stories to talk about, including those about social anxiety, making friends, granting patience and grace, teamwork, and cooperation. So speaking of your author journey, which is quite a lengthy one so far, can you tell us how many children's books you've now published and how the Alycat world got started, though, from the beginning?
Yeah, sure. So I have 9 books in the series. I am working on a 10th book, which is actually not an Alycat book,
Oh,
but then I'll
really?
get back to the Alycat series. Yes. So I'm co-writing a book with our governor's wife, our first lady here. So
Oh, that's
it should be a
awesome.
yeah, it should be a really sweet story. So the Alycat series got started while I was taking a temporary retirement from practicing law. I had my kids were very young at the time. They were 4 and 6, and I wanted to spend more time with them. And Law practice was very intense, lots of long hours. So
Yeah.
during my temporary retirement, one of my kids came home one day and said that she felt left out because it was dessert day and she has a milk protein allergy and she wasn't able to participate with all the other kids in dessert day because
No.
all they had was ice cream.
Yeah,
So she was sad. And although that seems like a small problem, it's a big problem to kids.
it is.
And so I did not see any books on our bookshelf that had to do with feeling left out and creating your own happiness. So I ended up writing her and my son a story about creating your own happiness, and that was Alycat and the Thursday Dessert Day. I wrote it for them before bed, and during story time at bedtime, I read it to them, and they loved it, and it just really lightened up their eyes, and they said, I can create my own dessert, create my own happiness, bring it, share it, and be a part of the the dessert day next time. And
Yeah.
so I love that about kids, that they can be resilient and they don't have to just feel as though they just can't can't move. When something happens to you, that's the time to get up and start creating your own happiness and self-worth. So that's how it started. I pitched it to lots of agents and publishers, got picked up by a publisher. By book five, I was picked up by a traditional publisher who I'm now with, and it just keeps rolling from there.
Yeah, they're rolling right along. And I love that about a lot of your stories is that it's not just, presenting this problem and something happens to Allycat and, you just kind of sit in it. It's really how we can turn it around and kind of, not really go into like the victim mindset, but like take action, like you said, of, okay, yes, this is something that happens to me and it happens to a lot of other kids, whatever situation it is. But how can I really take the reins and turn it around? And make it into a positive experience not only for herself but for those around her too, as a good role model for that. So you now have a book for every day of the week. But one of my favorites is Alycat and the Friendship Friday, which touches on the oh so common issue of social anxiety and feeling left out, which is a situation we've all been in and our children will undoubtedly find themselves in as well. But I love how Alycat, again, she takes action to turn those negative feelings of how she felt secluded into a positive experience of inclusion. So can you tell us a little bit about that story too?
Yes, so Friendship Friday is about a new student, Phoebe, who comes to their class. And when this new student arrives, Allie Kat's best friend kind of takes her in and they sit together on the bus. Alley Cat feels left out during the field trip. Alley Cat once again feels almost like a third wheel.
Hmm.
And these feelings are natural,
Yeah.
they may not be the best feelings, but they are natural feelings for kids and for adults. And so I wanted to write a story once again about helping kids, motivating them to fix their own problems. And, it's that whole saying, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
If someone new comes in the situation, imagine how they feel being in a new situation. That Alley Cat's feelings are valid of feeling left out, and, it's not her typical routine of sitting with her best friend, but she ends up creating these friendship bracelets for all of them to be great friends and to be the best of friends. You don't really need to have one best friend.
Yes.
And so it's just that message of motivating yourself to overcome obstacles throughout your life.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, my daughter is in fifth grade now, and it's definitely, especially, second grade, third grade, those more complex relationships really start coming into play, and they might get fixated on how things were or how things always is, and that's a source of comfort for them. And I mean, everyone likes knowing that they have a friend when they're walking into a room and they, group of strangers that you have that one friend that you can connect with, so you won't be, alone. But we've had many conversations about how one person doesn't have to be your best friend. Like this is my best friend, and then this is my second best friend, and my third. It's like, okay, we don't have to rank everybody. We don't have to pigeonhole ourselves into, always playing with the same people every day. And they go to a small school, so I'm like, mix it up. Like y'all are going to be driving each other crazy by the end of the year anyway. So I love all stories on friendships because it is such a tough dynamic, and it's really one of the main, issues that I feel like a lot of kids come across because just they're learning, especially like I said, those early primary years, they're learning how to navigate social circles and social intricacies, and it gets tough. And as a parent, it gets tough to watch. So, of course, I love bringing in a good children's book to exemplify that for our kids and be a good role model on how they can maybe take charge of the situation and not feel, left out on that. So, love that.
Right. Right. And you never know if someone else's struggles may be more than yours. You
Hmm.
may feel left out, but imagine a new student who everything has changed for
Yeah.
this new student. So these stories actually help readers look at empathy and putting
Hmm.
themselves in other, you know, people's shoes
Yeah.
and seeing what they might be going through and how you can help.
Yeah, I love that because I mean, we always talk about, the academics of, you go to school to learn your ABCs, you learn how to read, learn how to count and do math and all the things, but it's really, teaching those SELs, teaching those, social emotional dynamics, through books and through social situations is just as important to me, if not, and more important, to help them guide them through the rest of their life because all the other stuff will come for sure.
Mhm.
The first book outside of the weekday series is Alycat and the Copycat, right? Um,
Right.
I love this story because what can sometimes be viewed as frustrating or annoying if someone is emulating you or, copying you all the time, can really be a sign of insecurity or admiration on their part. Like, and I haven't come across a ton of other books that really touch on this topic. So, and of course, sharing and getting along and, empathy, like you say, for other people and how they're viewing things is such an important topic to tell our kids. So, can you tell us a little bit more about this one too?
Yeah, so Lucy in the story is copying everything Alley does, from the shirt she's wearing to the experiment that she's showcasing on the science fair day. And she even takes her seat on the bus. Don't think it was on purpose, but Alley feels frustrated with
Mm-hmm.
all of these copying tactics. And so, it may be by chance, but Alley feelings are real, and they're valid. But it's important to know for readers that you really need to have all the facts before you cast a judgment. Allycat may be too quick to see that, maybe this shirt was on sale at Target and all the moms bought it by chance because we
Yeah,
all
like you're the
like
only
to
one
shop
that
at
has that
Target.
shirt. Yeah.
Um, and a lot of people do the volcano experiment at school for science fair day. So it just could be just happenstance. But her feelings are valid. And it's a great lesson on realizing that even if someone's copying you, maybe it's on purpose, it could be a sign of admiration or that maybe you made an impact on
Hmm.
someone. And so they're maybe not being original, which everyone should be original in their own selves, but maybe they look to you as a leader. And sometimes we copy our leaders to learn and grow.
Yeah.
So,
I've talked to with my daughter a lot about, building that empathy and putting yourself in other people's shoes. And sometimes that is what we need to grant other people some grace and some patience because, you're in a classroom with the same kids all day, every day. And like I said, by the end of the year as a teacher, by the end of the year, they're ready to like, bust out of there and get some time, get a break from each other. Um, but really just granting that grace and having an understanding of where others, someone else might be coming from, I think gives them a lot of, perspective to be more patient in situations like that. And even little things like that. I mean, it comes up. That's real life, right? And that's what I like about this series is that it's all real life situations that, your kids or your students will find themselves in. And how they can work or how they can spin it into something more positive or helpful.
so in this book, I try to use a theme of your intentions versus the impact. And so
Yeah.
if Lucy is copying, her intentions might be that she admires Alycat's shirt. She thought it was really cool
Yeah.
and she wanted to be like the cool kid. Maybe her intention was um, to sit in a seat because she wanted to expand her social network with friends, just like Alycat. However, the impact, although it was admiration, the impact left Alycat feeling a certain way and feeling that, this animosity
Yeah.
and that she was stealing her friends. And so it's a good way to look at our intentions versus the impact it makes. And so, you might feel like Alycat after reading this book, but you might feel like Lucy. And
Hmm.
so it's a great way to reach all audiences and readers.
I like that too. I love that because it reminds them like two things can be true. She can have good intentions, but it also can have a more negative impact. And, I think those are some deeper social, scenarios where they can really it'll really help them evolve as kids as they get older and things get more complex to really just have a good base understanding of, okay, let me not jump to conclusions and thinks that she's trying to aggravate me or make me frustrated. Let me take a step back and see where this is really coming from. And that's such an important lesson, I feel like.
Right. And in the end, it was a good thing that she copied or maybe by chance had the same experiment because Alley Cat forgot her baking soda at home
Oh,
and
yeah.
could not erupt the volcano. But Lucy came to the rescue because she had extra baking soda because she had the same experiment. So there's a silver lining.
Yeah, that's true. I love that. Okay, so it's only September, about to be October at the moment, but your latest book has me excited for the holidays. In Alycat and the Christmas Cookie Swap, Alycat and friends find themselves in a sticky mystery. So, can you tell us a little about your newest release and its lessons on cooperation and teamwork?
Yes, so Allycat and the Christmas cookie swap. It's actually based on my daughter and her friends. They have a cookie swap during Christmas time. They all bake their favorite cookie.
I love
So
that.
if it's 10 friends, they bake 10. So each person goes home with a cookie that's, a favorite of their friends. Well, one of the kittens in the story can't make it to the cookie swap, and they've already baked their 10 cookies. So there's an extra cookie. And so they each bring one home to leave for Santa.
Oh,
And so there's this really sweet mystery, and they have to work together to solve it all together because Santa leaves them each a note with one ingredient. So they're trying to solve what his favorite Christmas cookie is that Mrs. Claus makes for him.
aw, that is so fun. So, another thing with this story in particular that I'm sure as an author is just so exciting. But you've taken the story a step further and cooking up something else for Alley Cat and the Christmas Cookie Swap. So, can you share about that?
Yes. So we have a musical coming out, Alley Cat's Christmas Cookie Swap, the musical. It's coming out
That's
in December.
so fun.
And it's going to be so adorable and funny. The cookies will be doing a rap, which is so much fun. Like oatmeal raisin cookie has this wonderful rap that I'm sure the audience will really laugh. This will take place at Wonderland Performing Arts December 6th and 7th. There's two showings each day, and these kids are amazing. They're stars, and they're doing a wonderful job of bringing this story to life. And it's just a celebration of a really great holiday and all the sweet things that come from, a good Christmas gathering.
Yeah, it sounds like it has all the ingredients for, not no pun intended, but for a fun holiday festival because we all love those fun gatherings during the holidays. So that's something, and that's in Lafayette, correct? Lafayette, Louisiana.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yes,
if
it
you're
is.
in the area, go check out the tickets. Okay, so before you go, can you tell everyone where they can check out all of your Alley Cat books, plus events and author visit info and tickets to the musical? You have a life-size Alley Cat mascot that accompanies you on your author visits, and I'm sure the kids go crazy for that. But where can they find out more about the Alley Cat series?
So they can head to my website, alycatseries.com, and you can find the books at most major retailers, Barnes and Noble, lots of independent bookstores, and of course, Amazon.
Yes, love that. Not the Amazon, but all the other links. Yes, go for that. Expound Expound Publicity is also your PR agency for other authors interested in marketing help. So where can they find out more about your services through Expound?
So they can head to our website, expoundpublicity.com. We have customized campaigns for each author because each author has a different book journey. So they require different marketing services, and it's customized to each one of their books and their campaign.
Yeah, sounds great. So, what a fun episode, Allie. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you guys have gained a couple of inspirational nuggets on talking your kids through sticky social situations. And we'll see you guys next season in the spring for the next season of the Blooming Books podcast. Thanks again, Allie.
Thank you, Lauren. It was fun.
Thank you for listening to the Blooming Books podcast, recorded and produced by Blooming Rose Kids. We've opted to keep our series ad-free, and if you'd like to support our efforts, please consider shopping our own custom-signed Blooming Rose books at bloomingrosekids.com and our academic materials on our Teachers Pay Teachers page. All of the books mentioned in this episode are also available via our affiliate links in the show notes. We so appreciate you being here and hope to see you next time.